The Camino de Santiago is in northern Spain. The section on which we traveled was between León and Santiago. From the United States, we flew into Madrid, the capital of Spain, and from Madrid we took a train to León to begin our adventure. And where are we going to dine tonight, gentlemen?
Well, how about... Whoa, look!
Pizza Hut!
We've done 15,000
León!
miles.
So Jack, where are we at here after we've had a nice dinner at the local Pizza Hut?
Well, we're in the heart of Old León, and we have our bridge down here. This is the ancient Roman bridge. And this was the actual bridge used by
way
the
in the
pilgrims.
distance we're talking about there.
Way in the distance beyond that pedestrian overpass. And we're going to walk down there now and cross it. And our lodgings at the Parador San Marcos are right on the other side of the bridge. So it's on the actual pilgrim spot where we'll walk in the actual footsteps of the pilgrims. Millions of them for the last 900 years.
And our first glimpse of the Cathedral of León. During the Middle Ages, few people could read or write. So the route to salvation had to be sculpted in stone on the cathedral facade. The message sculpted here couldn't be more clear. Devils dipping evil ones in bubbling cauldrons. Other monstrous forms devouring bodies whole. The opening of the doorway to paradise. Celebration of salvation. Satan crushed beneath the feet of the Virgin Mary. Two doomed souls. A pity. A pity. Two others waiting for the judgment day. Will they be ready? The weary pilgrim, resting, reflecting before the San Marcos Hotel here in León. And now, three wannabes join his restive repose. Well, we're anxious to begin our pilgrimage in earnest today. So a quick stop at the Bishop's Palace, and we'll be on our way, the Camino de Santiago. And this is indeed the Bishop's Palace, right next to the cathedral. And the journey has begun from the cathedral de Astorga and off toward Santiago, leaving Astorga. Finally, we are away from the cities, the little villages, and out in the country proper. It's a little bit windy today. Temperature, Joe says, is about 71 degrees right now. Very comfortable walking weather. A few pilgrims scattered along the trail here, but certainly not crowded by any means. So, till later. distance we see the Cathedral of Astorga, from whence we came around noon. Buen Camino, sir.
Peregrino. The guy that I thought was
Peregrino
around is actually,
inspects his blisters.
It's actually doing all right. This one completely.
The ubiquitous Camino marker showing the way to Santiago periodically along the trail here, heading toward Rabanal. Well, we're nearing day's end, first day of hiking on the Camino. Everything's gone relatively well. We're going to get into our albergue around 6 o'clock tonight and shower up, hopefully be able to find an internet cafe to journal and send on the news of the day back home. As we're traveling along, we vary between like a crushed limestone surface and tarmac. Right now we're sitting on a bridge here. I'll show you in a second. And then the trail veers off from that. We're taking a little break here waiting for Joe's arrival. And crossing the bridge here you can see how the Camino then veers to the right off the tarmac and down into that valley. The main street of Rabanal in the evening light. It's about 6 p.m. Well, we are struck with the bad news. Completo. All full. Now here's our second shot. Albergue El Pilar. Alright, you signing this up. We just received a tour of our first albergue.
Albergue, right?
As Jack says, refugio. We have a toilet. Shower, sinks, and we have the beds. Our first meal on the road.
Our first hot meal of the day.
Yeah, it's warm in here. Very cold outside. Well, the first portion of our meal has arrived. Sopa, which Joe and I are partaking in.
Sopa y pan y vino.
And Jack has opted for green beans, and he got a nice full plate of them.
Yeah.
And we're enjoying a glass of red wine here.
Yeah. Very good.
It's Sunday morning, about 8:05. Just getting up and getting going here from Rabanal. So what was that like, Jay?
Well, we had an interesting evening of sounds, people flipping around in their beds, zippering and unzippering things, snores.
And what did the symphony sound like?
Well, it was like 4 or 5 different snores. So you'd have like a, then you'd have a, and then you have a, like that.
As we stop to take a little bit of a breather here in our climb, we look back toward Astorga, from whence we came yesterday, to where we are here today, this Sunday morning. How's the climb, Jack?
A good workout. How far do you think we've walked up?
About a mile and a half, I think.
From the town?
Yep, a mile and a half. So we stop here, we spot a memorial. Probably 2 pilgrims that lost their lives on the Camino. Lee LeBlanc, 1951 to 2003, and John LeBlanc, 1915 to 2003. We're seeing a lot of milky quartz jutting from the path as we travel along here. Yes, these little alpine-like blossoms coming right out of the soil, no stem at all, but adding a little color to the trail. Ponce Badon was said to have had only 1 or 2 inhabitants up until a few years ago, at which time it was abandoned. But now it seems that in the distance there's new construction happening here to this former ghost town. The remains of some unfortunate pilgrim buried in the rubble of Fonce Badon. And the way out of town lies straight ahead on the Camino. Well, we are fast approaching the highest point, elevation-wise, on the Camino, which is marked by an iron cross, at which each pilgrim will leave a pebble brought from home, a symbol of good luck. And there in the distance we see it, buried in a mound of rocks. All right, we've reached the iron cross, and Joe climbs to the top to place his stone at the base of the wooden pole, on top of which is the venerated iron cross. The Spanish name for this site is Cruz de Hierro, but the tradition of placing stones here goes back to Celtic times. The Celts had a tradition whenever they would cross a mountain pass to place a stone for good luck. When the Romans came to this area, they decided to continue the tradition, calling the stones Marias, after the god Mercury, god of travel. The Catholics also continued the tradition, but in order to make it more palatable to the church on Guaselamo, the hermit placed an iron cross on top of the pole around which the stones have been laid. Here ends the reading. The entrance to Manjarin, which as we look upon it, promises little more life than Fonce Badon. However, it is in this little town where we're supposed to find the maverick albergue manager named Tomas. The authorities threatened to shut Tomas down, for he refused to adhere to their strict requirements for albergues. So he went on a hunger strike to avoid having his electricity turned off. Eventually, the authorities relented.
Senor,
Eh?
this is a pretty cool place. This is Tomas's place. Very eccentric, eclectic, a classic on the Camino. It's like he's too old for it, but the mother's not kicking him out.
Yeah, the pups are seeking nourishment. Bunch of bikers stopping by, checking out the sign to Machu Picchu. Okay, we've just come over the high point, the summit, and are looking down into the valley below. We have to walk through that valley and over the mountains on the other side. Finally, the village of El Acebo comes into view, our destination for this evening. Sitting behind our albergue here in El Acebo. Joe filling out his journal. Clothes drying on the fence, way at the rear. Monday morning, hey Joe?
Yep, Monday morning.
How'd you sleep last night?
Good.
Yeah, we had
9 hours.
Joe's cafe con leche. We are now witnessing the Zumex machine.
This is Max's.
Fresh squeezed orange juice. And there it is.
I need somebody who's got a battery charger.
As we leave El Acebo, we stop by the memorial to the German cyclist who was killed on his pilgrimage to Santiago before heading down into the valley toward Ponferrada. Nice temperatures today, eh?
Yes, very nice. No wind. Looking good, feeling good.
Onward,
Onward.
pilgrim. We've reached one of the churches in Molina Seca. Little resting spot here, and a stone bridge which we'll cross. The scallop shell showing the way of the pilgrim across the bridge here into Molina Seca proper. Joe trekking here. Hey Joe, Where's your skis?
I left them at home.
Uh,
Because these ain't ski poles.
he's a little touchy on that subject. And now we cross the Rio Boetza into Ponferrada and head over toward the cathedral. Joe and Jack approaching the front of the Albergue. Symbol of the Camino. And the entrance to the Albergue. Inside we've got the chapel, an eating area, and a fountain. Hey!
Hey, senor.
Yeah, this Albergue's got everything, huh?
This is like Albergue heaven.
Yeah.
It has everything you need.
Very
It's like
cool.
a little self-contained city.
We're all showered, we've laundered all of our dirty clothes, and we'll be heading into town shortly. Here's the internet facility on the second floor, where I just emailed several messages to Marcia and others. And the stairs going down. From the river below, we rise this hill and walk up alongside the castle walls here. Looking back, we see one of the towers in the castle. So we swing around here on the west side. And here's Mr. Karolewski, Knights Templar Extraordinaire.
Where's my sword? My strength has not failed me.
Unabated. We decided to have dinner around the square here, filled with the lively sounds of families. Children playing, older folks sitting on benches. On this early Tuesday morning, we leave our albergue behind here in Ponferrada. And looming up ahead is the Cordillera Cantabrica, which we will cross in the next couple days. We have now entered the El Bierzo wine region. Hillsides covered with grapevines. And groups of farmhands harvesting the grapes in the El Bierzo region. Grapes are collected in buckets and carried to a truck that will haul them away to the winery. Our first glimpse into Villa Franca del Bierzo, where we will spend the night. Well, I'm awaiting the arrival of Jack and Joe here, waiting outside the municipal albergue. But we want to go down the road a piece to Felix's albergue. It's supposed to be the most unique in Villa Franca. Today's little journey was over 13 miles, maybe even approaching 14 miles. So the toughest of the trip so far. First half wasn't too bad, but the second half was trying. So, see you a little bit later. Ta-ta. This is the Albergue Ave Phoenix in Villa Franca. There's my shirt drying on the line here on the west side of the albergue. And the hills in the background. The internet service. And dining tables. And the little drink and snack service area. Hey Joe, what do you see there?
It's like a dungeon.
And Joe's trying to break in. We have the huge tower turret. So, Joe, what do you think of Villafranca so far?
I like Villafranca. Villafranca.
What do you think of the castle?
The castle is very cool. It's pretty sturdy, and it looks like there's a dungeon. I crawled up on the grail, looked down. Dark, damp.
Dismal,
and,
dismal. Oh, we're at the Cafe Restaurante Sevilla here, enjoying a bottle of regional wine. Bierzo.
Yeah, we saw him pick the actual grapes
It went into this
that
very
went into this bottle.
bottle.
Yeah.
Joe checking out his email, or something like that. Checking out the socks in the standings here this morning before we take off for our trip. Today's journey. Here's my meager fare for breakfast.
You're gluttonous. That's more like gluttonous. Why don't you have some ice cream for dessert?
See. Magnum. Jesus doing the blessing, which I slept right through last night. Jack checking things out here. Jesus. And Joe. We leave the castle of Villafranca behind. We head off into the Cordillera Cantabrica to the west. Got the river below and the mountains to the west. So how are the feet today, Jack Meister?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Good. A flock of sheep we've encountered along the Camino. And here we have the black sheep of the family. Down below we have the shepherd dog taking care of the flock. Apparently a little disturbed by our presence up here on the bridge. And now we reach Vega proper. From our albergue here in Vega, we get a wonderful view of the Saracen Castle, high on the hill overlooking the surrounding valley. A little later this afternoon, after we clean up a bit, have a chance to rest, and the heat of the afternoon passes, we'll attempt to climb to this structure. And looking up and into the castle proper. Joe on one of the towers, or near one of the towers, the north and west of the castle. And down there is our albergue from the castle walls. And the western edge of the castle. Looking down over the edge and into the valley below. The remnants of a tower, the north wall. Joe standing on the outer wall. Impenetrable, Joe?
Yeah, this is the outer wall here. There's this sharp drop off. Pretty much easily defended. Plus then you have this inner wall.
Which we also think is the dungeon, looking at it from the inside. And the outside entrance to the outer wall, and the entrance to the inner sanctum. Finally, we pan from old to new in the distance.
Trucha.
That's the trout, huh? We're getting in some advice from from everybody that's been here early on. And our meal has arrived.
Quickly, too.
Pour pesque. Fini. Completo. Castillo Saracen in the morning. Due to Jack's deteriorating blister condition, he is going to take a cab to the next stopping point of O Sombrero. So we'll be seeing him at the top. Till later, buen camino. All right, Jack.
All right.
We'll see you at the top.
Zoom in on the left foot.
Zoom in on the left foot. That's the one we're praying for healing powers to be happening today.
The healing powers, and tomorrow should be.
Have a good journey up the mountain.
Okay.
I hope your feet feels better. We'll see you at the top.
Yeah, scope things out for us, all right?
Okay. Yeah, I will. I'll look around and
Find the internet cafe and
the whole thing.
shebang.
Got a beautiful day here, not a drop of rain.
Little grove of poppies. Little bed of poppies off to the side of the Camino here. Leaving Herrerias. See with the structure with the two little kitties up on the porch. Basking in the morning sun.
I'm gonna give him some
Joe gonna give him a little something here.
catnip. Here, guys. Catnip. It's good catnip.
Kind of freaked them out. Well, they're a little curious, a little curious.
Catnip. It's good. You like it. Catnip, huh?
The mountains back to the east and south. Here the road divides. O Sombrero to the left, or the Albergue to the right, in what I believe is Fabo, Angel, in Barcelona. And the Camino. Now things have begun to open up. The last 4 kilometers to O Sombrero. Looking off to the northwest here. Path swinging around like this. Right back to where I am here. And down to where Joe was making his way up. Went up over the last couple humps, I think.
Oh yeah, look down there.
And check out the valley below. And we are officially entering Galicia and leaving El Bierzo. The streets of O Sombrero. So we're heading toward our albergue. And our albergue for this evening. From a hilltop above O Sombrero. In the distance to the east, we can see the valley of Ponferrada, where we were several days ago. And looking off to the left, O Sombrero. And on the same hill, we see a wooden cross with coins embedded in it. Presumably to bring good luck to those who place them there.
Okay, here's the church at O Sombrero, and supposedly there was a miracle that took place here where a host and wine turned into the actual flesh and blood of Christ.
Legend has it that one night during a furious snowstorm, a peasant from far below in the valley rose to Ocebrero to attend Mass. The priest thought he was crazy, but in the middle of the Mass, the bread and wine miraculously turned to flesh and blood. Some say that at the moment of the miracle, the Virgin Mary turned her head to the right, where the transubstantiation had occurred. Later legends have it that the Holy Grail was hidden here for a time as well. We're looking into our quarters from last night. Everything's been dragged out into the hall for final preparations for today's trek. Morning breakfast. The same maison we were at last night, eh, Jack?
Yep, get the boar's head.
Oh yeah, the boar's head. After breakfast, we're getting the first rays of the sun in the east. As the sun has risen now, we are well along on the path this morning. The wind-blown Peregrino. Going up a steep incline here, entering the third little hamlet on today's journey.
Whew. That's
Tough
a good
climb, huh?
No, we don't need the health club on this field.
Taking a break here, but looks like we got the running of the bulls down the street here.
We ain't going to be running with these feet.
Indeed, they are coming right by us here. Hey! Buenos dias!
Hola, quick! Quick, amigo!
Yes.
Oh, that's the smell of.
And there indeed is Compostela and the Camino. Get a look at this huge gnarled tree off to the right of the path here. Arrow painted across it indicating the way. Entering Compostela. Welcome to Joe's Flophouse.
Yeah.
Here in
Down on our luck, folks.
Compostela. Guten Morgen.
Morgan.
Saturday morning.
Saturday. About 7:50 a.m.
Before our hike to Sarria today. The only remnant left of the three castles after which this town was named. On the little church here in Compostela. And the candle at the altar. Another tough climb here this morning. Lots of ups and downs on the way to Sarria. Hey Jacques.
We're huffing and we're puffing.
We finally reached what looks to be the crest.
Oh goodness,
And
look
we
at the
have,
giant shell.
yeah, there it is. Watering
Venus.
hole for Peregrinos. Little spider web beside the Camino. We're about at the halfway point of our journey today. Hola. Actually the halfway point of our entire pilgrimage. We've come to a spot of more magnificent webs here in the early morning sunlight. Hopefully you can see this as I pan. The sun finally breaking through the mist here. The mists hang low The valleys between the hills on the Camino. Jack's miracle cure, the Compeed for his blisters extraordinaire. Jack gives it a thumbs up. You will too.
Take one. Are we rolling?
We're rolling, Bob.
Hi, Jack Karolewski here for Compete. You know, if you're like me and you're thinking of doing the Camino, don't make a mistake. Go right to the source, Compete. It's the only thing which will solve all your foot problems for the entire trip. That's Compete, C-O-M-P-E-E-D. You won't regret it.
Little
Go
Shetland.
stand by the horse. I'll get your picture.
Buen Camino.
It's me. It's just me.
The path ahead, just too cool to pass up with the camera.
Yeah, we get the key. Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye.
We're staying in a pensione tonight for a little treat. 3 beds on the main drag. In the distance we see the cathedral, the church here at Saria. We may be heading that way soon for Credencial. On the main street here. Here we have a nice view of the river walk in Saria. Our dinner spot for this evening at Mason Roberto's, right along the river walk. Buen Camino to you. On our way out of town this morning, we stop here at the Iglesia de Magdalena. Train crossing ahead, perhaps. Jack standing in front of this gnarled, ancient tree. Old tree beard.
Yeah. Wow.
We got the valley down below and the stone walls with more bikers coming on through. Buen Camino. We've reached the 100K mark. After this, it's double digits from here on down. This is the specter before us. What lays ahead after the 100-kilometer mark? Here's our lunch spot today on the Camino. Bocadilla. A wonderful pastoral scene here. Well, I got off the main track here for a little while, perhaps a half mile. Back on it now. Looks like I'm picking up the rear for today. I have a beautiful field of wildflowers here. I couldn't resist stopping to photograph before heading down into the valley. Well, having missed a turn in the path, I find myself kind of picking up the rear of today's massive pilgrims moving on down the Camino. It kind of feels good being right at the tail end, being able to stop whenever I want and enjoy this mid-afternoon beauty. Till later. Ta-ta. We're approaching the big bridge into Porto Marin. Below the new bridge we have the old bridge into Porto Marin. Jack coming on up the path from our albergue. How do you like it, Jack?
I love it. It's brand new.
The entrance is down here. At the top of the hill we have the church here at Porto Marin. A little statue out front, which we'll go up and take a look at right now before getting our credentials thing.
I am standing
Santiago, the Peregrino statue here in Porto Marin. The statue points the way to Santiago. It's Monday morning, the 26th. Gonna get a quick shot of our dormitory here. Our albergue privado. And our internet facilities. Here at the albergue. Front entrance. The kitchen and dining facilities. Along with the little lounge. And down the hall, the shower. Here I am on this misty Monday morning, crossing the bridge, heading out of Porto Marin and on to our next destination. You're from Austria or Germany?
We come from Holland.
Oh, from Holland, okay.
Yeah, we come
Oh, okay.
To the Dutch
The
woman
Dutch,
from
yes.
Amsterdam?
Yeah. No, not Amsterdam.
With the white hair?
Where are you from?
We come from Zwolle.
Jack taking his ease with the cerveza. Bocadilla. Cool picture inside the cafe. Probably the original proprietors here. We stopped for a little lunch. Hey Joe?
Yeah. Stop for some lunch.
See some familiar faces here? This is Jack's Perfect.
This is a perfect moment. I feel like I'm 25 without a care in the world. Life is all ahead of me.
A perfect moment in time. So we stopped to take our lunch and our ease. We got Bossy in front of us here, carrying a heavy, heavy load today. And another yet coming along. Well, we got the shutout at the albergue here in Palas. So we end up in a nicer room. Nicest we've had in a long time. Looking off to the west from Palas de Reine. Right near our pension. Hey, Jacques?
See.
See. Dinner now? Yes?
Setting sun, yes?
See. Tonight we take our dinner at the Cafe Bar a Nossa Terra here in Palas de Reine. We put a lot of clicks behind us today, but we made it. Little worse for the wear. Till later. Sayonara. It's Tuesday morning. We're looking at the empty plaza across from our pension. So we're a little late getting going here today after a good 10-hour snooze.
Yes.
Hey Joe?
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
And there's mist in the valley this morning as we embark on today's adventure. We see off the side of the path here what appears to be perhaps a corn crib. Get the corn up off the ground and the rats away. These are indeed corn cribs. The evidence is right here. Looking back on the trail, the shafts of light piercing the canopy. Our morning cafe stop. "57 clicks to go to Santiago." All right, Joe, you say you're going to take the lower berth?
Jack, you want the upper or lower?
Well, fresh straw on the bottom.
Yeah, fresh straw.
I think I'll try the lower.
All right, I guess I'll go with the upper today.
See.
All right, that sounds good.
Jack's berth for the night. Hey, Joe?
That's it. Fresh straw.
Jack showing us the pulpo here.
There's your red pepper. There's your marine salt. Our olive oil.
See?
We serve it on the wooden plate.
See?
It has to be boiled in a copper kettle.
Copper pot, and this is an example of it here?
This is it. Well, this is uncooked. This is the uncooked.
Pulpo, uncooked.
Uncooked.
See? Hola.
You want to see the...
What do you think, Joe? Appetizing?
Maybe we'll try it when it's cooked. I don't know if I want it.
Okay. Here we have an example of the cooked pulpo. Good morning, sir.
Just had my cola cow.
This Wednesday morning, eh?
Wednesday morning.
There you go. Rainy. All right, this is our little stopping point. Which is your favorite there, Joe?
I think I'm going to go with the nata.
Maxi Bone. And here she is, Lainey.
Hello.
Hello. And Joe. And we prepare to embark again. We arrive now in Arzua, our destination for this evening. We are queuing here at the albergue in Arzua. Well, Jacques, how was your journey today?
My feet barely touched the earth.
Easy walk?
I was floating along.
Floating along.
Like an interview.
That's right.
Joe, how was your journey?
Oh, it was very nice.
Uh-huh.
A nice walk this morning with you and Lanny. And
Very nice.
And the big check-in here. Jacques and Joe. Our quarters for the night. Upstairs in the albergue.
But Laura's first job was when she was 17 this summer. And Paul's was, believe it or not, last summer was his first job. He was 19. What did he do? He worked at Colbert.
On our way to Arca. Morning has broken. We are passing through an oak savanna on our way today to Arca. Hey, Joe?
it's a group of oak trees on a hill.
Uh-huh. My morning flower shot on the Camino. Oh, we've come upon the bronze shoes of the Peregrino who lost his life here in 1993 on the trail. I'm here with Rob and Joseph.
I'm Joseph.
Joe coming down the trail here through the eucalyptus forest on the Camino, working on one of his songs, eh?
Yep.
Camino Blues, walking the Camino Blues. An unmistakable sign that we have arrived in Arca. And tonight's albergue. The valley way below. The laundry.
Clean laundry.
Excelente. Dinner here this Thursday night, eh, Joe?
We had a very good dinner. Plus, we had a very interesting discussion, as you can see, as it's written down on the table. This is our discussion topics.
The typical evening discussion.
Because they have
Joe.
paper tablecloths that we can write on. Every night we write our discussion here.
Final night of festivity before we all arrive in Santiago tomorrow. Friday morning, got a new moon out here as we depart for Santiago today. And from Arica, the trail disappears into the eucalyptus forest. The old wooden plows hanging from the rafters of this shed. And then, even here, nothing runs like a deer. The shadows stretch out before us here on this early Friday morning on the way to Santiago. Hey, Jacques Meister.
See,
Hey.
it's the last day of the long shadows
See.
as the sun pushes us toward our destination.
12 more clicks to Santiago. The knapsack of Joseph here at the little cafe where we stopped for morning cappuccino
Sun and warm up.
and a little break. Yes, the favorite morning treat. Cappuccino, café con leche. As we're relaxing here, halfway to Santiago, the entire gang.
Don't be cruel to the
Lenny and the boys. From the Mount of Joy, we look down into Santiago for the first time, looking for the spires. You can't see them from here. Maybe they'll open up shortly. And it's kind of the anticlimactic entrance into Santiago. We get to the most modern city on our route, only to find our first water. Of the Camino, Santiago. My first view of the Cathedral of Santiago. This is an amazing structure, extremely large, and the square before its front steps. The cathedral, the back of the cathedral, from our lodging here tonight. 3 beds. Little bathroom. That's all you need, eh, Joe? Yep. Tell you, Joe already hanging up his stuff to dry here. Here I am at the Tree of Jesse, where millions of pilgrims before have placed their hands at their journey's end, followed by the bumping of the head ritual to receive the wisdom of Mateo, the architect of Santiago's cathedral. The tomb of Santiago. In the dome were the voto funerio, the pulleys, the ropes. Entering the crypt, the tomb. Hey, Jack. Wow, this is very cool. Very cool. Yeah. We're going up there now. Millions have come to the secret path. Absolutely. at the crypt itself, the bones of Santiago, beneath the golden statue. Congratulations, Schackmeister.
Document that I can be proud of.
Yes, thank you. Little street next to the Parador, where we stay tonight. Right next to the cathedral. In all its brilliance.
Haced esto en conmemoración.
And now the traditional swing of the great incense burner called the Buto Fumario. It is said that this tradition started at a time when the stench from the multitude of pilgrims, most of whom hadn't bathed in weeks or months, was more than the clergy could tolerate. The wafting incense plumes from the swinging Buto Fumario would, to some degree, cover up the unbearable odor. And in the distance we see Finisterre, end land, farthest point west in Europe. See the 0 kilometer marker. We've reached Finisterre, end of all land. Here we have what we believe to be the actual westernmost point. And Jack is going to swim out and touch that rock. Hey, Joe.
Finisterra, the edge of the earth.
The walls of this odd chapel are made from the skulls and bones of over 5,000 corpses. The inscription over the doorway reads, "We lying here wait patiently for you."